I never imagined the kind of words my wife would throw at me that night. With a voice as cold as winter steel, she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You're terrible in bed, Michael." Her arms were folded tight across her chest, like she'd just delivered a final verdict on our marriage. We'd been together for 5 years, and not once had anything even close to that come out of her mouth. I stood there, stunned, feeling as if the ground beneath our relationship had suddenly given way. It all began with something small, a minor disagreement about chores. Lauren was irritated that I hadn't folded the laundry when I got home. I had been worn out after teaching late at a community college in Boise, Idaho, and told her I'd handle it in the morning. But that tiny spark somehow ignited everything else. She started picking at every flaw she could find. The trash I forgot to take out, the lack of planned date nights, the way she felt I wasn't as tuned into her as before. And then she dropped the real blow. "You're bad in bed." The air froze. A sharp, cold pressure gripped my chest. My hands went numb. That wasn't a casual insult. It was a wound, deep and personal, coming from the one person who was supposed to see the most vulnerable parts of me without ever using them as weapons. I let out a bitter laugh, trying to shield myself from the sting. "Seriously, Lauren? That's where you're going with this now?" Her mouth twisted into a smug, mocking smile. "I'm just being honest. Maybe if you weren't so boring, I wouldn't feel like something's missing." I wanted to yell, to call out the cruelty of her words, but before I could speak, a voice from the hallway cut through the tension. It was Sophia, her closest friend, who had come over earlier for wine. I hadn't even noticed she was still there, and clearly she'd heard every word. She walked into the living room with her arms folded and her stare locked on Lauren. "That's not true," she said firmly, her tone as sharp as a blade. "Don't lie to him. You and I both know is not the issue here." Color drained from Lauren's face before she suddenly flushed red with anger. She turned on Sophia like she'd been struck. "What did you just say?" she snapped, her voice trembling with a mix of fury and fear. "Sophia, you don't get to." But Sophia didn't budge. She stayed rooted in place, glaring right back. "No, right? You just tore him down for something that isn't even real. I've heard you brag about how good your nights are with him. Don't pretend you've been suffering." My mouth fell open. I didn't know what shocked me more, that Sophia defended me so fiercely, or that Lauren had apparently talked about our intimacy in glowing terms before. Lauren's lips quivered as she tried to speak, but the only thing that came out was a sharp, shaky, "Shut up, Sophia." I sat frozen on the couch, caught between wanting to disappear and needing answers. The tension in the room grew thicker with every passing second. Lauren's hands trembled as she grabbed a glass from the coffee table and slammed it down. "Why are you even saying any of this? What are you trying to do?" Sophia let out a low, humorless laugh. "What am I trying to do? Maybe I'm just done watching you destroy a man who actually cares about you. You push him away, you blame him, and then you humiliate him to cover your own guilt." "Guilt?" I finally asked, my voice edging toward disbelief. "What guilt?" Lauren turned toward me, her expression frantic, her eyes flicking around like she wanted to escape the room. Her mouth opened, then closed again. Sophia answered for her, her tone sharp and unwavering. "She's been messaging another guy, Michael. I've seen the conversations. I wasn't going to interfere, but after hearing what she just said to you, no, you don't deserve that." It felt as though the ground vanished beneath me. A harsh ringing filled my ears, and my heartbeat pounded so hard it vibrated in my skull. I stared at Lauren, my wife, my partner, the person I believed would never betray me. "Is that true?" I managed to ask, my voice shaking. Lauren's skin had gone pale, all her earlier confidence drained away. It's not what you think," she whispered, barely audible. Sophia let out a breath filled with disgust, her expression unwavering. "Don't lie again. Lauren, he deserves honesty. You've been tearing him apart just to bury your own betrayal. That's what this whole thing is really about, isn't it?" Lauren opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Her silence told a story she didn't dare voice. Seconds dragged into something suffocating. The air felt heavier with every breath. The woman I believed I knew better than anyone sat frozen, unable to deny what she'd done. Her wordlessness was the loudest confirmation of all. "Lauren," I said softly, my voice splintering, After everything we built, why? Tears welled in her eyes, but they weren't the tears of a guilty heart. They were the tears of someone caught in their own lies. I didn't mean for anything to happen, she muttered, stumbling over her explanation. He just made me feel seen. It wasn't that I stopped loving you. I cut her off sharply. Enough. The single word echoed through the room like a judgment. My chest ached, but I fought to steady my breathing so I could finish what needed to be said. You broke me down. You called me lacking. You humiliated me. All because you couldn't deal with your own choices. Do you even understand what you've done? She reached toward me, but I moved away before she could touch me. Even the thought of her hand on mine made my stomach twist. Lauren turned to Sophia, silently begging for support. But Sophia didn't budge. I'm not protecting you anymore, Sophia said, her tone ice cold. You hurt him just to shield yourself. I'm not part of that. If you cared about him the way you claim, you wouldn't have shattered his trust just to protect your pride. For the first time since we'd married, Lauren looked cornered, trapped, with nowhere to run. The fearless woman who once used words like blades now sat speechless, stripped of every defense she had. I rose slowly, my hands trembling, my chest heavy, but my mind clearer than it had been in years. I don't know what comes next, Lauren, I said. But I know this much. Our marriage can't survive on deceit. And I won't let you tear me down because of choices you made. Lauren began to cry, but I didn't stay to listen to whatever excuse was coming next. I walked toward the door, feeling like my entire body weighed 1,000 pounds, yet inside, a strange calm was settling. Sophia gave me a small, supportive nod as I passed her. That night, our marriage died, a marriage I had once believed couldn't be broken. Yes, the pain cut deep, but beneath that ache, something unexpected began to form. Strength. Her betrayal had crushed me, but it had also released me. For the first time in years, I felt myself reclaiming my own life, stepping out of a shadow and into my own light.